Yes, we will start here. It's a module 1, introduction to HTML. There within that, what is HTML and where did it come from? So it's a small topic, and we are learning here the history of the HTML. History might begins with the ARPANET of the late 1960s, in the sense that the history of the HTML which evolved in the 1960s with ARPANET. What is ARPANET? It is a network which is established in the US, America. Okay, jump quickly to the first public specification of HTML by Tim Berners-Lee in 1991. The first publication of HTML by Berners-Lee in 1991, and then to HTML's codification by the World Wide Web Consortium. We will call this as a World Wide Web Consortium as a W3C. Codification represent whatever the Tim Berners-Lee did. They are codified it and made it as a one format which can be available throughout the world. It's a community. W3C is a community which is working on HTML. So Netscape navigation and Microsoft Internet Explorer of the early and the mid 1990s. After this 1997, in the mid 1990s, a time when interpreter developers working for the two browser manufacturer ignored the W3C and brought forward a variety of essential new tags. See what happens here. Whatever the W3C has given the specification or say codified format, they are ignored it. The Netscape Navigator or the Internet Explorer who were development, they are neglected it and they are developing their own standards by considering some new tags and some new features. That we will call it as a CSS and JavaScript, and they are included. These two browser development team, they are considered some new tags, again some new features called as a CSS and JavaScript. Perhaps in a reaction to these manufacturer innovations, in 1998, the W3C froze the HTML specification at the version 4.01. In 1998, whatever they done a work, again the W3C, because W3C has worked more in a establishment of a web and establishment of a HTML, because this is a community where the people are working to give the specification throughout the world. So what they did, they froze the HTML specification at the version 4.01, whatever they done the work, in the sense that this version in the worldwide you can use a HTML 4.01, that standard will be remain same throughout the world. To publish information for global distribution, one needs a universal understandable language, a kind of publishing mother tongue that all the computers may potentially understand. The publishing language used by the World Wide Web is HTML. So, throughout the world, whatever the computers are there, they should understand with each other. They should communicate with each other. So, if they want to communicate with each other, they should know the language. So, they should, whatever the development team they are developing, they should consider only a single language. Then only all the computers will work. Means the HTML or the web development is done through the browser. So is there any single browser is available? No, multiple browsers are available. And the computers throughout the world the peoples are using, is there only a single computer they are using? No, there are different computers are available, like a Dell or say the Mac notebook, again some Lenovo. And what about the OS operating system? One can use the operating system as a Windows, again can use operating system as a Unix based or Linux based, again one can use a Ubuntu. Like that, they are using a different systems associated with them. Whatever the development of HTML who is developed in a one computer, that should be used by the other computers, in the sense that universally the understandable language should be there. For the reason, the W3C has given a tremendous work there. As one can see from the W3C quote, HTML is defined as a markup language, right? It is a markup language. A markup language is simply a way of annotating a document in such a way as to make a annotation distinct from the text being annotated, right? In the sense that annotating, what do you mean by annotating represent? If you want to give the data to the other computer throughout the internet, and you are annotating whether is that data is a image, or is that data is a video, or is that data is a text, or is that data is a table, what type of a data is there, that annotating, or say telling about the data is annotating. We can call it as annotating. Markup languages such as HTML, text, XML and XHTML allows a user to control how text and visual elements will be laid out and displayed. What the use of a HTML or XML or XHTML, they are used to control how text and visual elements will be laid out and displayed. In the sense that if you want to display the text, how to display that text, whether the text should be having a font size as a 14, or it should be a bold or not, or it should be a colored one like a green color or not, or it should be italic or not, like how you want to display the text and visual elements is explained by HTML or XML or XHTML. At its simplest, markup is a way, what do you mean by markup? Is a way of indicating information about the content that is distinct from the content. Content is different, information about the content is different. Like a metadata, we learn the data and metadata. What do you mean by metadata? Data about data, we will call it as a metadata. Like whatever the content you are displaying, about that content is called as a markup. You are marking there properly how the content should be displayed, or say how the videos can be displayed there. This information about the content in HTML is implemented using the tags, right? We are using the tag for making the markups. We are using the tags for making the markups, or more formally the HTML elements. We can call it as a tag, or we can call it as a HTML elements, but more on that later. Okay. Tags and HTML elements are similar words, not exactly the same. HTML elements, if you will call it indirectly, it is calling as a tags only, right? In addition to specifying the information about the content, many markup languages are able to encode the information how to display the content for the end user. This is encoding, and which format you are encoding, UTF minus something like the format is there. These presentation semantics can be as simple as specifying a bold weight font for certain words and were a part of the earlier HTML specification. Although combining a semantic markup with a presentation markup, there are the two words are there, semantic markup and presentation markup. This presentation markup represent earlier days using the markup in the binary ways of representation. Earlier days the presentation markup are using. The semantic markup represent, this markup is very important with the meaning of the content. This presentation markup is earlier days of using a markup where the binary datas are present. At that time presentation markup is working there. Is no longer permitted in a HTML5. In the HTML5 they are no longer permitted. Formatting the content for display remains a key reason why the HTML was widely adopted. Formatting the content. If you are formatting the content, you are taking something like a title. Below the title you are making some paragraph. Again after the paragraph you are displaying the content. That we will call it as a formatting. The formatting the content for display within the web is a key reason why the HTML are widely used. In the sense that HTML you are using for the formatting purpose, for the formatting the content purpose. It's a general way or a natural way of considering the formatting the content, or say annotating the content. See here, this is a main heading. Main heading, it is a, you are considering it is a main heading. Again a second heading, you are considering a bulleted one, or second heading something like code, and you are annotating here. Whatever the wrong things you are, if a person or say a student is writing, you are annotating it as a wrong or spelling mistakes, something This is a natural way of representing something like annotations or formatting the content. Okay, next is a XHTML. Instead of growing a HTML, there is HTML 4.01, the versions in 1998, the W3C has frozen there, and XHTML is a somewhere restricted version of a HTML. Instead of growing a HTML, the W3C turned its attention in the 1990s to the new specification called as XHTML 1.0, which was version of a HTML that used stricter XML syntax rule. What is HTML 1.0? It's a stricter version of a HTML, or say XML. We can consider XML. What do you mean by XML? Extensible markup language. As the web evolved in the 1990s, the web browser evolved into quite permissive and lenient programs. They could handle a sloppy HTML, missing or malformed tags and other syntax error. However, it was somewhat unpredictable how each browser would handle such errors, right? In the sense that if you are deviating from the standards, or if you are not considering the standards there, at the time, if you have developed a HTML pages in considering by one browser, then how it acts on other browser is not in the sense that you are at that time it's not predictable. So there is a need of a stricter version. They are meaning here that there is a need of a stricter version of a HTML. The goal of a XHTML with its stricter rules was to make a page rendering more predictable by forcing web browser to create a web pages without syntax error. In the sense that if you are developing any web pages or say developing a HTML by considering one browser and you are not considering rules properly, at that time definitely the errors will be generated if you are considering that in other browsers. So there is a strict rules. You have to go with the strict rules, that is by using a XHTML. What the XHTML do to making the page renders more predictable and less errors. More predictable and less errors. To help web authors, two versions of XHTML were created. XHTML 1.0 stricter one and XHTML 1.0 transitional. In the sense that the stricter one is very bound to the rules. Again, transitional is a lenient type of a program. You are not considering a strict rules here. The strict version was made to be rendered by a browser using the strict syntax rules and a tag support described by the W3C XHTML 1.0 strict specification. What the XHTML 1.0 strict whatever the W3C has given the strict rules, it is adopting there. The transitional recommendation is more forgiving flavor of XHTML and was made to act as a temporary transition to the eventually global adaptation of the XHTML stricter. In the sense that here transitional is considering some less strictness. XHTML 1.0 represent more strictness which is represented by a W3C XHTML 1.0. Okay, this is regarding a small description of a XHTML. These are all some theory parts. Now next is a HTML5. The next versions, the HTML5, in the sense that there are so many variations are there. Again, ARPANET comes again, Netscape and Microsoft Internet Explorer. Microsoft Internet Explorer has developed the HTML pages. So many variations or the versions comes there by considering the history. Again, in HTML5 is a one more version which is considered recently. At around the same time, XHTML 2.0, 1.0 we learned that 2.0 specification was being developed. A group of developers at Operand Mozilla formed the WhatWG. It's a group also. WhatWG is a community. The group of people who are working there, that is a community. Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group. group within the W3C. See what happens at the time of XHTML 2.0 specification as developing. Parallelly, some of the people are working on Opera and Mozilla. Again, they are developing some more versions there, some more version of HTML. This group was not convinced that the W3C embraces of XML and its abandonment of a backward compatibility was the best way forward for the web. Thus, the WG character announces. The second paragraph meaning is that whatever the XHTML 2.0 the people are working there for the development, they are not considering some specification or some like a backward compatibility. At that time, this WG group people are considering this backward compatibility and developing their own version. That we will call it as a HTML5. The Web Hypertext Application Technology Working Group, that is nothing but a WG group, therefore intends to address the need for one coherent development environment for the web application through the creation of technical specifications that are intended to be implemented in the mass market web browser. In the sense that coherent development is important. Again, they are considering so much of a specification that helps in the mass market here. That is, WG was focused less on a semantic purity and more on a web as it actually existed. In the semantic purity represent the meaning of the meaning of the web development or the meaning of the HTML. They are less focused on that semantic purity and more focused on the development of a web. As well, unlike the large membership of a W3C, the WG group was very small and led by a Lan Hickson, As a consequences, see what WG they are considering backward compatibility and more technical specification which should be implemented in the mass market in a web browser. In the sense that mass market in a web browser represent that should be adaptable to the different varieties of a web browser available at that time. That's a more focusing. The group is more focusing on those points. As a consequences, the work at the WG progressed quickly and eventually by the 2009, W3C stopped work on a XHTML 2.0. It's very important. Whatever they are working there in a XHTML 2.0, they stopped the work on the XHTML 2.0 and instead adopted the work done by WG and named it as a HTML5. How the HTML5 has evolved? HTML5 has evolved by the WG group which are developing and they are considering backward compatibility and some so much of a technical specification with a coherent development environment and which is intended to be implemented in a mass market for the web browser. These are all the characteristics which are considered in a HTML5 by the WG group. Sorry, that group is nothing but a small people which are from the W3C only. Okay, there are three main aims to the HTML5. What are the aims of the HTML5? What the HTML5 should be achieved there? Specify unambiguous how browser should deal with the invalid markup. In the sense that if you are marking invalidly, how the browser should specify that without doubtfully. Unambiguous represent without doubtfully how the browser should specify where if you are mentioned invalid markup. Provide an open non-proprietary programming framework for creating a rich web application. In the sense that they are making it as a open, non-proprietary represent not with the economical, not with the something like a commercial. It's a free of cost like, right? Open and non-proprietary programming framework for creating a rich web application. Be backward compatibility with existing web. See, backward compatibility represent if one website, one version is available today, in the tomorrow other version is developed. if you are developed a new version, and whatever the programs running in the old version, those all the programs should run in the new version, then that is a backward compatibility of a new version. Backward compatibility of new version represent the programs or the environments or the systems what are supported in a older version, that should be supported in a newer version. That we will call it as a backward compatibility. Now it's a usage of a browser. This diagram is representing usage of a browser by the different types of HTMLs, right? Let me consider here no HTML supports, only a small portion. Partial HTML5 supported is again some more portion. We can consider it as a 75% of the browsers are supporting a HTML5. That's a full HTML5 support.